Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Mindset series. If you're new here, my name's Rochelle and today we're going to be talking about why you need to be a lifelong learner in order to reach success. So having a learner mindset is something that's really going to get you to achieve your goals and get you further in life. This doesn't mean that you have to constantly study or hit the books or constantly consume content online. What having a learner mindset means is that you're open to feedback, you're curious, and you have a willingness to learn. In order to actually develop this sort of mindset, you need to be better at recognizing when there's an opportunity to learn, recognizing when there should be more questions or different questions you should be asking. You should never take the answer or take the result or product as how it should be. You should always be looking for how to improve and how to grow. And that's why having a learner mindset is so important in terms of being successful, because how many companies have you heard about that, for example, BlackBerry, that dominate a market? They have their time, they think they're thriving, and they think they're indestructible. And because they refuse to have a growth mindset, a learner mindset, that essentially caused their demise. That essentially allowed Apple to take over, to dominate. And that continues to be the reason why Apple is one of the most successful tech companies around, right? Because they innovate, they learn, they grow, and they improve. And being willing to have the same sort of mindset and the same sort of willingness to learning and growing is what's going to set you apart from everyone else, and what's going to make you or your business or whatever you're doing stand out from the crowd. Be the one with the innovation, with the growth, with the progress to the success. Because even if success was something that you achieved, holding on to it is going to be that much harder. You think that achieving success is hard? Holding that success, maintaining success is going to be so much more difficult after you've got it. And in order to keep it, you're going to need to be innovative. You're going to need to be learning. You're going to be needing to asking new questions, learning new skills, all of these things in order to maintain that success. In the same breath, you have to be willing to acknowledge and let go of your ego that maybe you don't know what you're doing. Maybe you do need help. Maybe you need to ask a new question. Maybe you need to employ someone else to do that job for you because you don't know how. That's also the same as doing a growth mindset. A growth mindset doesn't mean you have to have all the answers and that you have to know it yourself, right? You can have a growth mindset and embody the fact that, hey, in order to grow, I need to pay someone to do this for me because I don't know how to do it, and I know that without me not knowing how to do it, I can't get to where I need to be. That's a growth mindset as well. So I read this interesting thing that said, a learner mindset is not about being a beginner forever. It's about never thinking you've finished. And that's like the same applicable to the BlackBerry and Apple example, right? BlackBerry thought they had it in the bag. They thought they were going to dominate the market for the rest of time, essentially. And they thought they were finished. They pretty much gave up. They were content. They operated, with the same sort of systems and didn't innovate to improve and didn't look for opportunities to grow beyond what they already had. And whilst they were complacent, what happened? Apple decided that they could innovate, they could be something new, they could be something better, and they continue to do that to this day. I know it can be super hard as well to kind of admit that you don't know something, or that you need help with something, or that you need to learn something new in order to produce a result. I think a lot of the time we do live in denial of thinking that it's embarrassing to admit I don't know how to do this, when that's absolutely not the case. And you can hear from anyone that's successful and they will tell you this is asking the right questions and admitting when you don't know or when you're wrong is going to be the most valuable thing you can do in order to move forward, in order to move past these things. And that's going to make you so much better and so much quicker at adapting to new situations and getting past complex issues. So your ego probably will tell you that you can't admit that you don't know how to do this thing, or you can't admit that you need to improve or do this because you want to believe that you have it all together, that you're already successful. And I get that, because we have to embody the fact that we're successful, right? But we also have to acknowledge that without that learner or growth mindset, and I apologize because I've used that term interchangeably during this video, when I refer to growth mindset, I'm referring to the same thing, learner mindset. we need to have that mindset essentially in order to be able to strive towards our success or maintain our success. And with that same line of thought, having a growth or learner mindset means that we have to stay curious. We have to wonder what if. The more we do that, the less rigid we become. And then that makes us more adaptable. That makes us better at spotting opportunities that others can't see. And that allows us to move quickly when we need to change something. The great thing also about being curious when having a learner or growth mindset is that you begin to fear less because you know that there's always something on the other side of whatever it is you don't know. You know that you can move through this because you have the power to learn it. You have the power to employ someone that knows how to do it. You have the power to employ someone to teach you how to do it. Like, that reduces your fear of, oh my gosh, how am I going to get past this problem? Because you're curious. You know that no matter what you do, as long as you're looking at it in that light of being curious and wanting to learn and to grow, you're going to be able to move past that and not have to worry about the fear of being stuck in that same position or doing something wrong. So what I want you to do is, next time you are faced with a situation where you're like, yep, I know how to do this, and you're just doing it, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what more can I learn from this? Or can I learn anything more from this? Is there something more to know about this process that I'm doing, this task that I've delegated? Whatever it is, have a think and pause. What more could you learn from that? And I think it's probably not going to come to you straight away, and there's probably going to be an awkward silence where you sit there and think, I don't know, I just know how to do it. But you've really got to take that approach with so many things that you do in your day-to-day life. And there may not be anything more to learn from that specific situation that you're in, but building the habit of asking yourself, what can I learn here, is what is going to allow you to continue to grow in all the areas of your life and really push you towards that success. So a few key takeaways for you is to replace your comparison of maybe you observe someone thinking they've got it all figured out. Replace that comparison of they've got it figured out and I don't with, what are they doing that I could be doing that would allow me to get this result? Just changing your mindset and the way you look at situations in like a more of a growth, curiosity, learner way is going to get you that success. Comparing yourself to them and saying they have this and I don't is not going to get you anywhere, right? But if you really break down and admire them and look at them as a mentor and think, wow, what are they doing in their day-to-day tasks that has got them this thing that I want that I'm not doing? And once you identify that, you implement that and you try that consistently until you realize that's probably the thing that's going to get you the success that you're after. Number two is you really need to treat every situation like it's a practice opportunity or a learning opportunity. It's not the finalized result, it's not going to be perfect, but we're doing this because it's going to give us a new skill, it's going to give us experience, and it's going to get us closer to being perfect at the thing that we want to achieve. And then it just comes down to thinking, even if you know 90% of the things you need to know to be successful, that's fantastic, but spending your time on those 90% of things that you already know is not going to help you improve, right? You need to focus on the 10% of things or tasks or actions that you aren't doing or that you don't know how to do. And that's really when you're going to see the magic. That's when you're going to see the progress from where you are towards your success. So success isn't about being the smartest person in the room, it's just about being the most committed to learning, being curious, and to growing. You have to stay teachable in order to be successful and in order to maintain that success. Don't forget that BlackBerry and Apple example. That is a perfect example of staying teachable. And when we think about the people who win long term, they never stop learning, reading, doing. They are constantly in the growth learner mindset. And although they never stop learning, they do get better at learning. And that's something that you can look forward to. The more you learn, the easier it is going to be, and the more driven you're going to find yourself and drawn to wanting to learn new things and finding it easier to acquire new skills. So I hope you learned something in this video with the growth and learner mindset. I want you to stay teachable. I want you to stay curious. I know that you can do it. And just remember how important it is for you to have that different perspective and look at things in that different light of wondering what it is you can learn from this situation or this person or whatever it is that you're doing. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode of the Mindset series.